Good evening, everyone. I am Rufus Bill, and welcome to another edition of Talking To, which is a weekly broadcast that deals with human interest stories. No matter what the interest is, we will deal with that every week, Sunday, 7 o'clock p.m. on Facebook Live and YouTube Live as well. And we're just so happy that you take the time out every week to join us and to comment and to listen and to like and share. We ask that you do that right now. Like and share this broadcast with someone you know, with several people that you know. We would greatly appreciate it. With that, we have our other host today, Joanne Tosa Fuller. Good evening, Joanne. How are you?
Good evening, Rufus. How you doing? I'm
I'm
doing
doing
great.
fine today.
Yes,
How are
yes.
you doing
I
today?
look. I cannot complain, especially after I woke up and all that snow on the ground this
All
morning.
that.
Oh my goodness, that was crazy, and I had to get out in it this morning and drive.
Did you
And
really?
look, and then now this afternoon, the streets are just like it just rained, and that's it.
Right.
But
Just
hey. But we've been
you know,
blessed. We've been blessed all winter. I'm not
all
complaining
winter.
because we've been
No
blessed all
complaints at
winter.
all. Yes. When I got up a couple of times, but I never looked outside. And when I finally got up to get ready to leave, I was like, oh man, there's all this snow. Had I stayed away from that window maybe 10 minutes longer, it would have just sent me on a spiral this morning. What do people say now? It would have been a trigger.
We don't want no
It would have
triggers.
been a
We don't want to talk
trigger
about triggers.
for me. But yes, it was unreal how much snow had fallen. I don't know when it
Yes,
started, but it was enough.
it was enough.
It was enough.
We know when it's here now. I'm done. I'm
Right.
straight. I'm straight.
We see it. I had a friend. I have a friend, and all he did was once he heard about the the forecast for the snow. That's
Uh-huh.
all he talked about. He said, "Oh, that snow is coming. That snow is coming. We haven't had no snow. That snow is coming." I said, "Would you just enjoy that the snow is not here?" I said, "I can't believe you are really looking for it." He said, "No, I'm not really looking for it, but they say it's coming. It's coming." I said, "You should be so excited about other things."
Thank you.
You
Thank you.
know,
Not snow.
not the snow. Oh man, and with that, we'd like to say good evening to Justin. How are you today, Justin?
What's going on?
Hey,
What's
Good
hey,
going
people.
hey,
on, buddy?
hey.
Y'all all right?
We good.
Good, good, good,
How
good.
you doing on this beautiful Sunday evening?
Not bad. I'm bad. I'm not bad at all. Pretty fair for a square.
Uh-huh.
Listening
Very fair for
to
a square. It's snowing, but it ain't that bad. It could be worse. That little snow is more wet than anything. I don't even
right.
I don't even got a shovel. I can go out there with a push broom and take care of that. So I'm definitely thankful for that. Because it's
Yes.
Me
like,
too.
yeah, the snow just start make people go crazy. I don't know.
It
They just
does.
act crazy, drive crazy. So, it ain't even been that cold. So I'm like, okay, we could do a little bit. And I
Yeah,
think tomorrow is gonna be like 30 something degrees. So it should be, dried up pretty soon.
Hopefully.
definitely.
Yeah, for
Oh
Because
sure.
yes.
these new non-driving Detroiters,
Oh my
and
goodness.
I should say Detroit metropolitan drivers. I won't
Thank
single
you.
out Detroit.
It's not just
It's not
Detroit.
just
Trust
Detroit.
me.
But whoa, I said, where they get their did they take lessons?
All right,
Is
well,
I mean, do they still teach drivers training?
They do. I have a
they
driving
do.
school right around the corner from me.
Do you really? Because I
Hmm.
rarely see them, and, and when I see the drivers, I wonder. I said, did you all even take it?
I'm telling you. You know
Hmm.
what? You just brought something to mind. I have a question for both of you.
Okay.
So you know how we used to have to when you're coming down on the freeway
Hmm.
and you used to have to slow down. It says you're supposed to slow down. Merging traffic is supposed to slow down for ongoing traffic,
Yes.
No, I think it's
right?
the opposite.
Oh, but
The
But now, when we used to come down on the ramps, remember they used to have the lights on the ramps to slow you down, to stop you as the traffic that's flowing. Right. You're supposed to slow down and merge into traffic. So has that law changed? Because these people coming down on these ramps feel like they don't have to slow down
at all. They just come in.
Because the people on the freeway are not supposed to stop or slow down.
No, really. No. So if you are in the far right lane and a vehicle is merging, you're supposed to get over. So
if
you're
you
not,
can.
If you can, you right. But the ownership is on you. So if number one, if somebody's merging, per the state of Michigan, if somebody's merging on the freeway and you're there, you have two options. Option number one should be to change lanes and get over. If you cannot, then you're supposed to slow down and let them to be able to get in front of you. But either or works. Speed up to go past them before they get down, or slow down. You know, that can be dangerous, but typically you have to allow the person that's coming down on the ramp to merge. So a person is coming down, they coming down to get in traffic because they don't know if the person's going to slow down or speed up. So, but if you're on the freeway and you're riding in that merging lane, you are supposed to yield, not stop, but to let that person that's coming down the ramp onto the freeway. So,
and maybe one car, because I'm a courteous driver. So I'm going, if I know I can't get over, then I will slow down.
Okay.
For one.
But that second one is hit.
For a whole bunch of them. I can't stop on the freeway for
no, you shouldn't.
3. You know,
yeah, I mean, it should be happening.
And so some of them, you know, because it happened to me last week where one and then the other one sped up, and I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay, I was trying to be courteous for that one. Let the person behind me be courteous for you, or you be courteous to me. You slow down on the ramp.
Yeah,
I agree. Are you a lead foot driver?
Huh?
Are
you a lead foot driver?
We have an officer on the line.
Oh,
listen, look, not on duty. No, I'm not on duty. Okay, I am not on duty.
Oops.
I plead the fifth.
Oh, that's funny.
Might incriminate me.
But I tell you one thing, Justin and Joanne, if you're not prepared to drive and do whatever it takes, slow, fast, medium on 696, they will eat you alive.
They will eat you up.
You better
and the lodge.
You just got to get your mind together and get on that accelerator and hope for the best. Because when you coming down there, you do not know if they're going to be courteous or if they're going to speed up.
Right.
That's so true.
And then once you get in the lane, you have to floor it because they will run you over.
Right.
Over.
Yeah. But I am a courteous driver. So I try to, you know, if I'm in the fast lane and somebody's coming up behind me, I don't care if I'm doing 80, 90. If you coming up behind me like that, you know what? I'm going to get over soon because I'm going to let you go.
Right.
You know, and wave my flag as you go by.
You're in the lead.
That's funny.
Oh, man. Justin, how was service today?
It was great, man. It was great. I taught a message today entitled the missing ingredients. And so it's all about leadership. So we're in a series called Your Move. And my first message was talking about defining moments and talking about how a lot of times we make the wrong moves, make wrong choices, and we blame it on the devil, we blame it on everybody else. But, you know, some things are up to us. You know, Moses had a defining moment when he was at the burning bush, and he told him what he wanted him to do, and he could have did it or didn't do it. So that was the first one. And today I talked about how our moves require leadership. And sometimes God move us to places, and because it's uncomfortable, or because it doesn't feel like or look like what we think it's going to be, we begin to question, did God really tell me to come here? Did God tell me to do this? And the thing is that the thing that's missing, God puts us there to be it. So you may get to a workplace and there's no love here. Well, God is calling you to be the love there. You may get to a place, there's no joy there. God wants you to bring the joy there. So as leaders, you know, whatever environment or wherever life takes us, we have to learn how to lead and be that missing ingredients. And it's first accepting that leadership, is the key. So I went through myths of leadership, that leadership is about titles, that leadership is about management, that leadership is about self-development, and leadership is about I'm missing one. I don't know. I don't know. But so I went through these myths to dispel that leadership has nothing to do with titles, nothing to do with your management skills, your personal attributes, but it's the ability to create what God revealed. And whenever we can create, what God revealed, bring that spiritual thing into the natural, we're leading.
All right. I
I
like
like
that.
that. I like that.
Yes.
Now I learn. I've been bringing the wrong thing to the table.
Even bringing it
again.
Again. Yeah, it's a pretty dope message. It's on YouTube and Facebook. If you go to Conquerors Church, it's a good one. You would take notes, and I came from Nehemiah, and we talked about different leadership styles. And I talked about two that are not conducive, for worship, and then I talked about transformational leaders, and what that looks like and what it be, and how it was President Nehemiah and building a wall of Jerusalem back up. So it's a really good message.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
It sounds very good.
Check that out.
Definitely.
Yes.
And isn't it your pastor's birthday?
So his birthday, Pastor Sam's birthday, was, I believe, like Thursday. But
Okay.
but we celebrated him today and honored him during service and stuff like that. But yeah, his birthday was actually Thursday. But
the big 50, am I correct?
52. I think he's 52.
52, the big 52.
52.
All right.
Yep.
Well, Talking to wishes the best to Pastor Sam.
Yes.
And all that all of your endeavors. Nothing like a birthday.
Yes. Nothing like a birthday.
That definitely, tries to keep you on tracks when that rolls around or as it's coming up and you're analyzing. You say, what have I done from at this point to last year?
Yeah.
That reflection is really, it seems like it comes automatically, just like it's on a timer.
Yeah, right.
What have you done? And what are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
Yes.
And what have you learned?
What have you learned? Yes.
Learned from what you've done. Yes.
And
or not done.
Or not done. And that's the key. Forever living, forever learning.
Yeah.
Forever living, forever learning. That is for sure. So if you're just now tuning in, it's Talking To, and the gang is here. Joanne Tolson Fuller, Justin Hearn, yours truly, Rufus Bill. And we have a very special guest today. And we want you to, as you always do, get involved with the conversation. You can like us, share us, and even later on go back and retrieve us from YouTube Live and as well as Facebook Live. Joanne.
Yes. Today I have a dear sister who is just an awesome, phenomenal woman. And so today we're just going to talk to her a little bit about her business. She's an entrepreneur, and a little bit about her life because she was featured in a book called Fearless Woman Rock. And awesome stories. And she's the first story in this book about and it's really a short synopsis of her life, because I know she can only put so many into about 18 pages. But yes, we're going to welcome today Mrs. Nikita Car Nickey-Morgan. I hope I said the Car Nickey right.
I love Nikita.
Well, we call her Nikki. That's what we call Nikki.
I'm Nikki. Nikki Car Nickey.
Hey.
And how are you today,
Nice
Nikki?
to be here.
We're so glad that you're
awesome.
Good.
Yes, Nikki. So just tell us a little, we're going to go first. Tell us just a little bit about your entrepreneurship, what you do, and what that entails. Just give us a little background of yourself.
Well, I'm an entrepreneur at heart, so that brother Justin That sermon was right on for me. I want to listen to that one later because
Awesome.
that's what
Yes.
I'm all about, leadership. But yes, I've been with my first business. I've been doing it for almost 15 years now. I work with students with disabilities, and I do life skills and training. And the name of the business is called Dream Tech. So I go into schools and we teach young people how to get to the next stage in life. So, yep, we understand you're in high school now, but what are you going to do after high school?
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, a lot of our students of color are labeled with a disability because they have been diagnosed with certain things like ADD, ADHD. It's very prevalent in the schools for students of color. And so we work with these kids, and we don't just go in and, you know, talk with them like their teachers would. We go in there and we show them different practical life experience so that they'll know how to go to the next level. And we do a huge summer program every summer where we have roughly about 100 or so kids during summer internships. And Miss Joanne was one of our facilitators one summer. So it's very close to my heart.
Yeah, it's and it's awesome. I know one time I catered their summer event, and then one time I
Yeah.
actually taught all summer during COVID.
Okay.
I actually taught some of the children online, some of her high school students
Wow.
online during the summer. So it was about what 4 days a week for I think it was what
4 days
four or
a week,
six,
three or
yeah,
four
for about
days a
four or
week.
6 weeks, and it's really
Yeah.
it's really powerful, and it was really enlightening for me, um, and humbling for me also, because they really want to learn. We think a lot of our kids, they don't want to, and they really wanted to learn everything. Oh, well, how do I do this, and how do I, and they were just taking it in. And even if they were having difficulty during the assignments or doing tasks, they still, it taught you patience. It taught me understanding. It taught me, okay, that's okay, but we're gonna get this. We're gonna
Right.
get this. And just because you're not doing it like that, it's okay. You're gonna get this, and you got
Mm-hmm.
this. Just to see, and when they got it, the looks and the smiles and the oh wow,
The light bulb.
that was something.
A
That was
sense of
that was really
accomplishment.
awesome.
Yeah,
Really to see them and how they
absolutely.
light up and just are really wanting to take what they can and take it all in. And even though we label them,
Mm-hmm.
some of them, that
Hmm.
label means nothing. It does not stop them. It does not
No,
hinder them. So yeah, I enjoyed working
absolutely
with
not.
Nikki. I really enjoyed working with her.
Nikki,
Hmm.
how did you come up with this idea and have the passion to change the lives of young people?
Well, a few things. One, I started working with the state of Michigan at Michigan Works, and I was a business
Uh-huh.
service representative. So people would come in that were on unemployment, and I had to teach them how to make a resume, how to put their applications online. So this is earlier in my career. And I just fell in love with teaching and with helping people because I like to say that there is not a job that I can't get. I'm a very good interviewer.
Okay.
So I would help people. Yep. I've gotten every job I interviewed for. So
Wow.
I enjoy that. I enjoy helping people. And I worked for Michigan Works for 10 years. So that kind of started it. But then, as far as how I went into youth, there was a special program, that initiative that the state of Michigan had, where they wanted to go into the schools and work with the kids that have IEPs. And an
Okay.
IEP is just an individualized educational, uh, I forget what the P
Program.
is,
Plan.
program,
Mhm.
plan. That's
Plan.
it,
Yeah.
plan. So they wanted to go in and work with these students and see if, in working with them and teaching them life skills, and how to get a summer job, how to do certain things that we used to learn back in the day when we had home ec. They wanted to know how would that, yeah, I'm telling my age now, home ec. How would that benefit the students in their other classes? Would it make them a better student? How would it do? And I was brought in for this special program, and I thought it was cool. I thought that's amazing. And what they found out is, yes, teaching kids about life skills, leadership, interpersonal skills, communication, allowed them to do better in their other classes like math and science and English. So I started working with the state on that. And then when the contract ended, I decided to open my business because I enjoyed it so much. I
Okay.
became a vendor for the state. So the people that I was working for, they became my clients. So almost 15 years later, I'm still working with them. And now we started off with one curriculum, and now we have about 12. We
Wow.
teach, oh, yeah. We teach, of course, we teach all the life skills, but we also teach barbering, beauty. We teach gaming, because we have
Okay.
several people that are on the spectrum, and we found that a lot of these kids are really technical, and
Very.
all they play is video games. So we were wondering, how would it be for them to learn how to make one of those video games? So we have a whole course where kids learn about coding, they make their own video games. We also have an art program, we have a culinary program,
Good.
home health aid. So I'm just very proud of what I've been able to do, because I was one of those students back in the day that was lost, that thought that nobody really saw me. And I was never I never was given an IEP, but I did struggle because I had a lot of things going on at home that nobody knew about, and it
Okay.
affected me at school. And now I want to work with those kids just like me who don't think they're being seen.
Justin, with a program like this, how would you say, from an expert in law enforcement, how can this deter students from ending up on the wrong side of the law?
I think it's great. It definitely helps because, I think that a lot of the problem is the exposure, right? When you're only exposed to video games and you only exposed to the people that are in your neighborhood who are doing what they do, and maybe these guys didn't graduate, maybe they didn't, then you don't know an outlet. You don't know what else you can do. And then the more that you get exposed to different life things and barbering, and now it's like, oh, okay, well, I can be a barber. Oh, and people will pay me to make money for this. So they're you see their eyes, get open, and then now they can take that energy that will be displaced, in the streets or doing something like that, and they can be doing something positive. So I think that the more that we expose young people to career opportunities, to as I call them, hustles, you know what I mean, and different things like that, the
Yeah.
more, you know, the more likely we can save them, because we're showing them that they can do and be something different.
Yes, yes,
Sure.
and because every child is not college or university bound,
Exactly.
and so just to see, like at the award show at the end of your summer, um, at your award ceremonies and all of that, and how people were coming from different places that were teaching these classes, and they were giving them um like the ones that took the gaming, I forgot, they gave them, was it iPads, they gave them their own pads to have as a
Wow.
iPads, yeah.
graduation present,
Hmm.
their pads, their certificates, their
Hmm.
their cameras if you took photography there,
Really?
so that really gave them an incentive that, ooh, I can do this.
Hmm.
And then you're going to get some of the equipment that you need.
Mhm.
Okay, I can focus on this, I can
Continue.
do this. And so just to see that at that ceremonies, and of how they just felt so proud, and so that they're not um
Yeah.
lost children, or they're not children just put to the side,
Mhm.
put to the
Yeah.
side.
Most definitely. And I think that is, programs like that are important. And, the funny thing is, when you look at places like Korea, places like China and other countries, they've been doing this type of stuff, like, developing individual, like, and it's kind of sad, whatever. Most people who have IEPs, IEP is the new definition of, special education. You know what I mean? But it's like, we're so far behind that in other countries, that people go to school, regular school, but they all have individual learning programs, or whatever the P is. Now I'm saying programs, plans, whatever.
Plan.
Because the reality is that standardized learning sucks. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because some kids are good at certain things that some are naturally not good at, whatever. So I think the more that we do this, but to me, I think that the work is great, but let's put pressure on lawmakers. Let's put pressure on the superintendents and stuff like that, and let's create schools where there is individual, and it's not because you can't keep up, or it's not because you
Right.
can't focus, it's not because you lack this, it's because this is what you need, and we all have, and we talk about people on the spectrum. I believe we're all on the spectrum. You know what I mean? Everybody's on the spectrum. You know what
That's
I'm
right.
saying? Everybody
I
has
agree.
an autistic trait. Some may be more than others, less than others, but we all are there. And I think the more that we can take education and take life skills and go away with this standardized learning of sometimes skills that kids ain't never gonna use. You know what I'm saying? If I remember taking algebra. If I ain't one job I've been interviewing asked me if I knew what the Pythagorean theorem was and what a squared plus b squared was. And at the same time, I ain't never been on a job interview that's ever asked me about some science, a pH chart, or the scientific whatever, the chemistry chart. You know what I mean? So I think that those classes and stuff like that need to be geared towards people who want to go be, a doctor. You're interested in nursing, whatever. But I digress.
In case you're just listening or tuning in
There
at a later date, talking
You
to
are all right, Justin.
Joanne Thompson Fuller, Justin Hearn, yours truly, Rufus Bill, and a very special guest today is Nickey-Morgan, and she has a company called Dream Tech. Nikki, do you deal with any parents or any adults who are responsible for some of these children? Do you interact with them in any way?
Oh, yes, definitely. Big part of what we do requires assistance of a lot of the parents. A lot of the parents
Great.
are some best volunteers. They volunteered in the summer, all throughout the year. For instance, right now Joanne was talking about college not being for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And we agree. We agree with that. So we do every year in March, we do what we call a post secondary college fair. And instead of inviting the 4-year colleges, we invite all the apprenticeship programs. We invite the beauty and barber schools. We invite the culinary schools and all the different skilled trades. Okay, HVAC, you name it. And we all invite them so that our students will know, look, you too can go to school, but you don't have to go for 4 years. You can go and get a trade. And as a result of actually of COVID, there are so many new jobs in healthcare where all you need is a certificate and you can work and make a decent living. So we try to expose them to that, and we also have people from the community that work in those different capacities to come out and demonstrate. So we have STEM leaders, we have that come out and they show them the drones, and it's just a fun day. It's a fun day.
When is that job fair?
And this year, it's a college fair, and it's March 16th at the Boys and Girls Club on in Detroit.
Okay. Well, I would love. So I mean, I know I'm a field recruiter I'm a Detroit police officer first and foremost, but I work in our field recruiting unit, and I'm responsible for me and our team for recruiting all throughout Southeast Michigan. So I would love to come, set up a table at your event. If possible, yeah. And we've been to the Boys and Girls Club before, but
you read my mind.
Yeah, whenever I'm
mind reader.
Yeah, whenever I'm in high schools, and that's I lead with that, is I say, hey, the reality is everybody ain't going to college, and that's okay, But Detroit Police Department, you only got to be 18 years old and have a valid driver's license. And you actually get 30 college credits for going through the police academy, graduating as a police officer. Yeah. And then on top of that, we have a program with Cleary University here where you get bachelor's degree, master's degree, and you can get a certificate program, whatever. And it's like half the time. So a person from straight out of high school with no college credits can get a bachelor's degree in 2 years and 24 months. Somebody that has, I have a partner who has 10 years on a job, got a bachelor's degree in 1 year because they detailed the program to accommodate all their training and experiences, and they put it into papers. So so definitely want to be an advocate for some of your young people and just expose them to the career opportunities in the Detroit Police Department, because people don't know. They think about police officers, but literally pretty much everything you can do in regular society, you can do in a police department. We have nurses, we have tow truck drivers, we have clerical workers, we have mechanics, we have phone operators. I mean, it's like anything that you can do in regular life, you can actually do inside the police department. So yeah, definitely give me the information, and if it's and if it's okay with you, we definitely will come out.
I want you to tell Chief White he can't even buy press like that for free.
Oh, yes.
Tell the Chief.
Hey.
Tell the Chief. Now that's a plug over there.
That is
but
awesome.
No, that's great that you all will be able to connect and help.
Thank you so much. That means the world to me.
Yeah, man. So this is kind of the segue. I know you talked about how this was part of your desire because of where you were as a child. So I'm going to segue this into this book called Fearless Women Rock, and to your story, because I think it would give people another picture, a bigger picture of kind of why you are where you are today, and why it became your passion. And so this book is called Fearless Women Rock. Learn how 6 courageous women found strength during the storm. And like I said, Nikki's story was the first in this book. And her story, she entitled it Freedom to Forgive.
Wow.
And I'm tearing up already. I'm telling you. It's and to, oh my goodness. She talks about as a little girl and how, well, the first page is where she hears her dad pull up and she's like, oh my goodness, he's home. Oh my goodness. Oh, uh, and how her heart starts pounding and she gets nervous and she gets, but then it goes into where, as a young girl, her mother had her when she was 17.
Okay.
And as young girl, how she lived in a toxic environment. And so that goes back to saying how you wanted to kind of hide. You She talks about how people did not see her and how she did not want people to really see her and did not want people to see how she lived. Even though she felt like she lived in, at that time, an affluent neighborhood, which is Rosedale Park, if I'm right, back then. But she didn't want her friends to see how she really lived. And she said her bedroom was a mattress on the floor, pink walls, a dresser, and I think, was that it? And
Basically, that's it.
that's it. But how her dad was very abusive
Yeah.
to mom, controlling, and mentally abusive to Nikki. She's the only child. And at the age of 6, how mom said she was leaving the dad and mom sent her down to live with auntie and grandma down south. So Nikki, I want you to, because I could tell the whole story. I really could kind of, just synopsis.
You're doing good.
Share with the I want you to just share with us just a little bit of what that life was like and the story that you shared in this book, what your life was like as a child.
Well, it's so crazy when you're living the life, you think you're normal. And then when you get out into the world, you realize this ain't normal. My parents were very young and suffered. My mother was diagnosed with schizophrenia in her 20s, and my dad, who was in the Vietnam War, had PTSD, and he suffered with smoking crack and working. He worked at Ford, but he still did his thing. And although we had what it looked like a great life outside of our household, within that household, my mother and I, we lived a very controlled life. Um, and my mother, with her mental illness, she couldn't really protect me. She couldn't protect herself. Um, and it was very scary. It was a very scary upbringing. And so when they sent me down south, it was actually a blessing because I was only supposed to be there for a summer, but I ended up staying there first through third grade, so 3 years. And those were the most normal years of my life. And I speak about it in the book as just having the freedom because I was the only grandchild. So right around when I turned like 8.5, 9, my parents got back together and moved into Rosedale Park. And I speak about coming home from the market and hearing the phone ring. And my mother is on the other end. end of the phone, and I say her first name. And you know, in a Black household, you don't do that because I had forgotten. You know, I just called her. I just called her what everybody else was calling her, and she, you know, instead of saying, you know, oh, that's okay, honey. I mean, she just wore me out. She was like, "You better not call me that." And anyway, you know, we coming to get you because I see you just been doing your own thing. So the book that I wrote was about coming after spending that time with my auntie and my grandmother, coming back to my parents in this just really crazy environment. And that no child should have been in.
So very, very dysfunctional, very dysfunctional.
Very dysfunctional. Lots of stories I talk about one day walking home from elementary school or middle school. I think I was either in the fifth or sixth grade. And I came home and all of our dirty clothes were on the front yard, front lawn. Wow. And my mother was looking out the window. And when I walked, you know, and I just started picking up the clothes. I knew they were our clothes. And I took them in the house. And my father, I guess he was angry because they hadn't been washed, and he just threw them all out on the front yard. And in a neighborhood like that, where we were one of the first Black people in that neighborhood, it was embarrassing.
Traumatic.
And you mentioned how you were so glad that your best friend did not walk with you home that day, because you would have just like died. And you know, and it's sad, you know, but oh my goodness. But then, so when you got back home, you're living with your parents. How long? I know you said finally, it's like your dad finally just left, and I don't want to say finally, like, but he left. How many years did you have to put up with that until they really separated?
They separated when I was 15.
Wow, that's a
so
long time.
From about 9 to 15 was a lot of craziness. And my mother, my mother tells me to this day that she remembers me telling her, "Mom, what are you going to do when I graduate and I leave? What you going to do?" And she said, when you said that to me, it just, you know, because in many ways, I was my mother's protector. And only kids of abuse, and they understand what that means.
Right.
Protected her from a lot of the violence that she could have gotten from my father. Because even at a young age, I was very strong. And my dad saw that. He saw that I was different. And to the point where he was like, I don't even want to look at you. Go on upstairs. So I spent most of my time when he was in the house in my room, because he didn't even want me looking at him, because it was almost as if me looking at him made him let him know that he knew that this ain't right. You know, this is not right.
His conscious.
Right.
Right. So you shared a story. Yes. You shared a story. There's a point in the book where you say you felt like you had no one to protect you. No one was on your side, I should say. But my notes, I said that she had no one to protect her. So your dad couldn't protect you. Your mom couldn't protect you, because you said sometimes your mom would side with your dad. Sometimes she would side with you, but a lot of times she would side with your dad. So you felt like you were all by yourself. You were all alone. And one example you gave was when your mom's ring was missing. and how
Yes.
So your
Girl.
mom kind of, as your dad, calls you from upstairs from your room and says, come down here. And where's your mom's ring? And you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. What? And your mom is like, well, maybe I lost it.
Right.
But then he sends you back to your room. And then your mom comes up and says, now tell him where the ring is. Tell him. And you're like, but mom, I don't know where your ring is. I didn't take your ring. So
He was like, I know you know where it is.
Right. There's nobody on your side. So to be an only child and to feel alone and lost and, in all of this turmoil, what was going through? What were you going through? What was going through your mind at that time? I could only imagine.
I mean, as a child, you're just scared. You're like, because I also said that he said, see, you think the world of her, and I went out there and pawned the ring. And I remember thinking, okay, I'm gonna have to know what pawn means. I didn't even know that meant, but it was unreal. And as a matter of fact, they found the ring. About 2 weeks later, they found the ring, and no apology, no nothing. I was punished, and she just lost the ring. She had just lost the ring. And
wow.
And the thing about it is, you would think, yeah, right. So you would think that after, my parents separated and it was just me and my mom, that things would get better, and it didn't.
Really?
It didn't. It actually got worse. Yeah, because then I was homeless.
Well, you talk about
then I was homeless because.
You talk about how, your dad was gone, but there was a point where you talked about how you were in the house by yourself, and the electricity gets cut off, and you call your mom. Now, where was your mom? Because why are you calling your mom somewhere else when you're in the house by yourself? The electricity gets cut off. She doesn't know the electricity gets cut off. And then, 2 or 3 days later, the water gets cut off. And it's like, okay, so where was mom at that point?
So my mom couldn't keep a job. So she had me in this, I guess it was a house on the east side somewhere, and it was not fit. And one night the lights just went off, and I had to go through the night in the dark. And I wrote in the book, I went, because this is in the 80s, so there were no cell phones.
Right.
So I had to go find a payphone and call my mom, who was living with her boyfriend at the time, and they were living in an upscale apartment because he had money. And I found, I kept a little piece of paper with the number, and I called her, and I was like, "Mom, I didn't even know about that. She didn't pay the bill. I didn't know nothing." So I said, "Mom, the lights were out," and she was like, "Oh, I guess I need to pay that bill."
Really?
And I said, "Yes, yeah, you need to pay it. I'm in the dark. I'm scared." And she was like, "Well, you'll be all right. I'll take care of it." And she never took care of it because, as Joanne said, a few days later, a friend came over, and the pipes busted, and water was just all over the house. And that friend, Joanne, is now my husband.
Wow.
So he went down and he turned off the water. Yes. He went down, he turned off the water. He took me out to eat. He got me some food. And my mother just ended up moving me to another place to a friend's house. I don't know. There was a time where I was just what they call couch swapping, just from couch to couch. So I ended up doing that for the next year or so.
So it sounds like, you know, you've had to what am I trying to say? Endure a lot of different things. And so I'm just you know, I thinking, you know, it's quite interesting that you can, you know, hear these stories and you can remember this and you can laugh, you know what I mean? You can laugh, you know, laugh about it. So, you know, that lets us know that, you know, that healing has taken place and that you've moved on forward from it. But I what I would like to get our audience to hear is, what was it for you, or what do you think made the difference? You know, what kept you sane? You know what I mean? You know, I hear people that are in you know, situations, circumstances like this, that commit suicide, that go, that, you know, that get hooked on drugs or turn to prostitution, or, you know, you could have turned many different ways. But what do you think, you know, what was that voice for you?
Well, I always was a God's child. And when I say that, I mean literally, I felt the presence of the Lord over my life as a child. And it wasn't, I know that He kept me. And because even when I was going through all of that, there was something in my head to say, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. No matter what, I know I'm going to be okay. And that's why I wrote the book Freedom to Forgive, because my life has done a total 360. I have forgiven my parents. They're both alive. My mother lived with me for 3 years during COVID. Um, I see my dad often.
Mm-hmm.
It's just by the grace. I mean, forgiveness is actually what saved my life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I just wanted people to know that when you truly forgive, you don't forgive for that person. You forgive so that you can move on and you can get all that what God has for you.
Amen.
And
Amen.
it took me years. It took me
Mm-hmm.
years, but I definitely have forgiven them, and we have a great relationship. And they both apologized in their own way
Amen.
That's
over
awesome.
what had
That
happened.
is so awesome. And you're so right when you say that forgiveness is for you, because just like when Justin asked that question, a lot of times what turns people to those other things is because of what they're holding inside. The anger, the bitterness, the hatred, the unforgiveness, a lot of times is because they're holding on to it, and because they can't let it go, so they turn to certain things because they think that that's going to help, whether it's the
Mm.
drugs, whether it's alcohol, whether it's the prostitution, or whatever else the vices might be. It turns to that. So that is that forgiveness is so powerful, and it's for you.
It
It really is.
is.
That unforgiveness will take you down. Will take you down. And that's what I
Yes,
love
it
about the end of your
will.
story, how you say, I am a courageous woman and I found strength during the storm. And you have 3 points that you made. The first point was to ask God. Ask God to teach you how to accept the things you
Mm.
cannot change, the courage to change the things that you can,
Yes.
and the wisdom to know the difference. That was point
Mm-hmm.
one. Point two was learn to love.
Mm.
And mental illness is real. It is
Very
truly
much
real.
so.
And it cost me a
It
shattered
is.
childhood.
It is.
It is a constant battle. But what you tell people is learn to love even when you do not understand.
Mm-hmm.
And then point three, allow your
Yep.
faith to be your secret weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Through faith,
Definitely.
I learned not to my own understanding. I leaned not to my own understanding. Through faith, you can learn to live a life of freedom and learn to forgive. Forgiveness is how I put the shattered pieces back together, and now I am whole again. That is so powerful.
That is
so powerful. And so the reason that I asked Nikki to be here is to show somebody that, you know what, no matter what you're going through, no matter what you've been through, that there is hope.
There is hope.
There is hope for you. There is hope.
Yes.
You can come out of that. You can make it better. You can forgive. You can move forward. You can have dreams and desires and goals, and you can reach all of that no matter what you have gone through or no matter what you are going through. There is light on the other end of that tunnel. And that's why I wanted Nikki to come and share her story, because, you know, it's so many people go through and have gone through that we don't know. Just like her friends, probably some of your friends that went to school with you probably had not a clue. And to read this story,
they did.
They're probably like, what? You know?
In shock.
So, yes. And
yeah,
shocked.
Yeah, because I did go to Renaissance High School, which was a school for you know, the smart kids, and people would have been shocked. They would have been shocked to know. But I mean, I no longer shame, so I put my story out there so I can help others.
Amen.
That's wonderful. Nikki, how can people get in contact with you to purchase the book or to learn more about the program that you have at Dream Tech, or maybe they want you to come and speak? Give us your contact information.
Well, thank you so much. If you're interested in the book, it is on my website, and that is Core Vision, COR Vision Coaching.com. So what I do now is I coach female Christian entrepreneurs, and that's my coaching site. And if you go on there, you can see buy my book, corevision.com, and you can get the book. If you're interested in any of our programs for your students, you can contact us at our business phone number, 313-739-0701.
Give that number again.
And we also have it's 313-739-0701. And we have a Facebook page, Dream Tech Consulting. And when you go on there, you'll see all my kids, all the programs that we do, and you can leave a message on Facebook as well.
Perfect. That's 313-739-0701.
That is correct. You've got it right. And for speaking, just reach out to me on my website, Core Vision Coaching. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed this.
It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. And just, you know, can you just leave a word for someone out there watching today that feels like they are just lost and have no hope? Can you just give us a word?
Absolutely. You are not alone. I know it may feel like it sometimes, but you are not alone. There are people that will take care of you, that are people that you can talk to. Just know that this too will pass.
Mm.
And the things that we go through is not just so that we can have problems and we can be sad and we can, it's to make us who God expected us to be from the beginning. So without that childhood, I probably wouldn't be helping all the kids that I help today.
Mhm.
So just know that your journey is not over. All of this is
Amen.
making you into that person that God meant for you to be.
Amen. Amen.
That
Thank
was
you so
beautiful.
much. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. And we just wish you the very best
Thank
in
you.
all of your upcoming endeavors, and continue to blessing God's people and inspiring the youth, inspiring adults, and knowing that they can be all that they really have ever dreamed to be, and even so much more.
Yeah.
Amen.
So
Amen.
Well, once again, give us the phone number, Nikki.
the phone number is 313-739-0701. I also am on Facebook under Nikita Car Nickey-Morgan. Reach out to me. My website is Core Vision Coaching. If you're a female entrepreneur and you're looking for some coaching, some mentorships, reach out to me on my Facebook page, and I would love to work with you. So that's who I am. Thank you so much. I
And
really enjoyed this.
and we would definitely have to have you back to give us an update on what you're doing and tell us how that
Oh
Justin did.
yes. Yes, and I am going to have Justin at our fair in March. So yes, anybody interested in attending our fair, they can come. Reach out to me if you're a community person that has like some type of program for
Mhm.
kids. Please reach out to me at that phone number, and we would love to have you as one of our speakers and vendors for our students.
Thank you so much again. You've been a delight, and we all are just so happy that you have a positive ending to such a
Yes.
traumatic experience.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Amen.
And have a great week. All right.
Yes.
Mm.
All right. All right. That another great show, everybody.
Another one in the books.
Another one of the books. You know, as she was talking and
Can
you
you
were
tell I
talking,
love to read,
Joanne,
Justin?
I know I was on the edge of my seat. I'm like, oh my God, what more?
Oh
Right.
my goodness.
It
I mean, like I
seemed
said, it was so much in just 18 pages. And I think it's it's five ladies in this book that
mhm.
tell their story. But in just 18 pages, she kind of just covered the spectrum. But and of course she skipped over a lot because what can you tell well, you could tell a lot in 18 pages. But it
But
was just so when I first got the book or saw it, I couldn't put it down.
mhm,
I couldn't put it down. And and dealing with people every day, and like you deal with children every day. Justin deals with people
mhm.
every day, and I deal with people every day. And I know with me, they tell me a lot of their story,
Yes.
and so I have to pray every day, Lord, help me to encourage them somehow, some
Mhm.
way, somehow. And when I read this, I thought this could encourage so many people that, you know what, you're not stuck.
Right.
You're not stuck.
You're not
It's
stuck.
okay.
But you
You are
know
not stuck. And
what is
that's
so
what made her
fast?
who she is.
It definitely. But to be able to recant these experiences, not only in the book, but just as she's talking to us, and to be able to smile and to be able to want to give back and want
Yes.
to do more and want to reach higher plateaus and reach more goals is
Yes.
phenomenal, because
Yes.
Justin sees this all the time, people giving up, committing
Yes.
suicide,
Yes.
or
Yes.
acting out in violent behavior, but she turned it all around. And we hear stories like this, but
Yes.
to be able to really talk to her on this platform and hear it and and digest it, because I was thinking over here, man, if I'm like right here about to start crying. Although she was very joyful and very, very transparent, but it just hit the heart just thinking, she was at some house that she in an area that she didn't know anything about. The lights went out, the water went out, and mom is living her life.
Living her best life. She out her best
life.
At boyfriend
like, girl,
house.
you be all right.
Yeah.
And she was, and she is. And then to be able to forgive and have a relationship with her parents.
Yes.
That's the icing on the cakes.
Yeah.
So there's no, as the church people say, nobody but God.
Nobody.
Before we go, what do y'all got on tap for this week, Joanne?
Life, work.
Okay. You said it all.
Right.
Justin.
So Wednesday's my dad's birthday.
So
I'm looking forward to celebrating my dad this week. And that's pretty much it. All I got. Oh, my first game. I'm coaching middle school basketball.
That's right.
My first game is this upcoming Saturday. So got two big things happening this week that I'm definitely excited for.
Perfect.
Awesome. How about you, Rufus?
As usual, I'm going to try and watch what I say, because every time I open my mouth, I get in trouble. So I'm going to try to stay under the radar again. I say that I'm spending most of my time trying to keep me marking the straight and narrow.
That's hilarious.
Yikes. No, I look forward to this week. Just doing what I normally do, piano lessons and working with the leaders of today,
Yes.
Definitely. I'd like to also say before we go, happy birthday to Jay Sanford, radio host of the Morning Breakthrough on 1340. I think it's WEXL. He turned the big. I ought to just put your business out there.
Tell us.
See, there I go. Not more than 5 minutes, and I'm opening up my mouth, inserting feet.
You know what though?
Nikki, I need to call you for some core vision coaching.
Men don't get that privilege. You are how old you are. Because you don't get you however old you are, that's how old you are. Dude.
That's how old you are. Now I like that. Oh, that's too funny. All right, everybody. Have a great day, and it's, as always, it's been a pleasure to working with two great people, Joanne and Justin. All right,
love talking to you. Peace.
Likewise.
I'll leave.